Hello, welcome to the Natural Physique Podcast. Today, as you'll notice on iPhone 92, there is a special little guest in the corner, and it is Brandon. Also, the were you the reason why we're called custards?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, because he was a tubby custard.
Oh my God, I didn't
Yeah.
realize
Brandon
that.
was. We've got original tubby custard for the thumbnail,
No,
the
no.
YouTube, everything.
Yeah. If you can see
As
him, sorry for the,
yeah,
the camera quality.
yeah, we're filming on Josh's phone, and he's about 5 seconds behind. So if he just starts cutting in and yapping away, then you know why that is. But Brandon is in the lovely Loughborough because the boys are going to Ellie. Not me and Matt. We are Skintle. So the other boys are going to Ellie, and they're down south. How are you, Brandon? I feel like we've not spoken. We'll see each other in the gym and JP's every now and then, and it's very much like. Oh yeah, I'll just let you go on with it.
Yeah, yeah. Like obviously, I'm pretty much. I mean, my life is literally just prep at the minute. Like obviously, it's coming to an end. But like all I'm doing is going to the gym, and also when I see you, then like I'm just kind of cracking on in the gym.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a good little catch up as well. But yeah, I'm very very good, thank you. And we are obviously 4 days out from the Worlds now. WNBF Worlds. We're going down tomorrow. Also, travel down today to the Physique Club, which was a very nice session.
Yes.
Josh and Finn decided to do like a 5 hour session, so that was fun. I was just
The usual.
yep, I was just sitting upstairs, but nah, very very good. Like as well, obviously with the Physique Club, there's also like half decent lighting there. So like I've not seen my physique the last like pretty much since the last time the NBW show like in half decent lighting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because even you, sorry, Noah, like when you posed in JP's one, you were like, I'm too pale to pose
Yeah.
there. And Brandon's just as pale as you, if not fucking paler. So, yeah.
So it's also good to kind of see the like a little bit more confidence, I guess. Like obviously, kind of the physique coming back to life, and obviously being so close to the show. Like I kind of now feel like the peaks kind of. Like, I feel like I'm actually in peak week and I'm actually competing. If that makes sense.
The peak is
Yeah.
peaking.
The peak is peaking.
The peak is peaking.
So yeah, that's where we're at. We're down in Loughborough. Me and Josh 6 hour drive this morning. First thing in the morning, we're at Finn's right now. We're actually in Finn's house, so Finn's at the gym. So that's where we're at, and then we are 4 days out right now. So
Exciting.
Fuck yeah. Am I,
So,
am I leading
At
everything?
home.
hmm?
Everything all right at home?
Yeah, it's great, honey. It's brilliant.
Thanks.
We're holding it down. It's nice
Sorry
and
about the
safe.
dishes. They're from last night.
That's okay. I'll get them sorted.
Thanks, mate.
No worries at
Time
all.
tonight.
Brandon's done a shite in your downstairs toilet, I think.
it was lovely, lovely.
Christened it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
hit your head on the.
Down to
Oh
the
yeah, you're smacking your head on the way up
What?
though.
Mate, I'm 5'6" and I smacked my head off the. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Brandon will sleep in the bed, and I might cuddle up with him, just spooning or something.
That my bed is massive. Like I didn't even notice you were in there last time because you're small, natty.
Yeah. Oh well, I noticed you were in there. I started
I'm a
I
big
started
natty.
drifting off. I started drifting off a little bit, and honestly, I shit myself. You snore so aggressively, like violently, mate.
Yeah.
Straight away, and I shit myself. Like I
What are
literally
you?
started
What are you
panicking.
nodding at, Matt? We've never shared.
Yeah, we have.
Ireland. Are you
UK
sure bed,
I know. I'm
mate?
joking. In
Oh,
Coventry.
Coventry after my UK to FBA show. Finn was supposed to go back home, and then it ended up being a pretty late show. So he was like, I think, oh, we were staying in the same place.
Yeah.
You were just in a different like
I
apartment.
only booked one
further
night,
on.
didn't I? And you
Yeah.
booked two.
Yeah. So, I said you could stay in my
We
apartment.
watched Adam Park.
Mistake, man.
Oh, we were watching Adam Poy covering himself in peanut butter. It was like Adam Poy's full day of eating. Every meal was like 30
Like
grams.
30 grams of peanut, every single one.
Yeah, his bagels in the morning, drown them in them.
Yeah.
I
So
remember that.
yeah, you were snoring like mad, and I was like literally 157 pounds soaking wet lying on the side of the bed, and this fucking big thing on the other side.
Sorry.
And we had PCA Ireland where
that was my first experience of it.
yeah, that was
You can just hear Londonderry, the fucking motorbikes that sounded like
Oh,
gunshots
bad. Yeah.
outdoors. Then Finn just lying with his belly out.
I fell asleep so easy because I had headphones in with sleep music on, so I couldn't hear outside or my own snoring. Those two were
Mate.
like, mate, it was so bad. I was like, get some headphones.
I had my headphones in.
Like, Finn literally had a wee nasal strip Andy had mouth tape. I'm like, how are you still snoring here? You've literally got mouth tape covering your mouth. How are you doing this? It's impressive. It is
I
genuinely
think
impressive.
I should probably get a CPAP. I'm not big enough for it. I'm just fat.
You're really unfit and fat. You still can't even crack on with that, can you?
With what?
In the gym, you can't get some cardio done. You even do cardio anyway.
Well, if I do cardio here, I'm sweating like mad for the rest of the day. I could do it at the end of the day before I come home.
Good excuse for just not doing cardio.
It is a good excuse, yeah.
Yeah,
But I do want to get in that office room that you're in now. I want to get treadmill, and because I had a treadmill before and I had a bike. Obviously, I got rid of them when I moved because I couldn't I didn't have enough room to take them.
Last thing before we get back on to Brandon, I'm getting a standing desk for Christmas, so I'm going to use that so that I can do my steps.
That one that you're on now is a standing desk.
Is it?
Yeah, it's electric. I just haven't. It's like not.
Oh yeah. Fair dues. You're going to set up already. But yeah, enough yap and shite and chat. Back to Brandon, the WNBF Worlds. So this will be sixth show this season.
Yeah.
Another long season here
A
at
long
Natural
season. Your
Culture.
first show was in July, no?
Yeah. Well, very end of July, wasn't it?
PCA
But
Natty
Yeah.
3, wasn't it?
That's crazy.
that's amazing. That feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Mate, it's went so fast. Like we were talking about this. Like when you're in the midst of your competitive season, like when you start your shows, like time just flies by. Like even though it's been, I don't even know how many weeks since my first show now, but it's been a good few months, and it's felt like it's just flown by pretty much.
I did say that to you as well at the start. I was like, before you know it, this is just going to be over.
Yeah,
like it's so fried how it just happens like that.
I feel like I have been present, like obviously, especially when we're posting social media, like obviously, like, you're counting down, etc. Like show and stuff. But I feel like I have been present, but it still has just absolutely flown.
We were speaking about on the well, technically, if you're watching this now, last week's podcast about like getting so good at handling your stress, and before you know it, you just become a robot and you like forget to actually experience things. But I think you've handled that well. Like, you know, you've found that middle ground. Matt was speaking about like a scale, finding kind of where you want to be in the middle of that. But I think you've handled that well. You stayed present and you communicated well with me as well. Like, you know, when you do feel a little bit fucked, and you know, when things are more positive, when things are a little bit more negative, and I'm really happy with like what we're going to be bringing to WNBF. I think it's going to be good. Like, kept the physique alive. Not that it's just a case of trying to keep it alive, but it's been again a long season, 6 shows now. And it's just a case of making sure you're not overly battered, feeding up at points where you need to be fed up, but not just randomly chucking in food for the sake of it, in a sense. But yeah, we fly out tomorrow. 3 p.m. flight, I believe it is. I need to check in.
Me too.
I need to check in. Finn, you also need to check in. Reminder. But yeah, we'll fly out tomorrow. Get there 7:45 p.m. I believe.
Is that LA time?
Yes. Yeah. Time here is going to be late. It's going to be like 1:15 to 15 a.m. Probably won't get to sleep until like 3 to 4 a.m. UK time, which is it's not great, but we'll work around it. We'll make it work. A little nap on the flight and do the best that we can. Shout out to Petru Roncha.
Cool.
Mate, so I've been speaking to, I obviously said this to Finn, but for Matt and for Noah, I've been speaking to the woman today that's sorting the Airbnb for us, and she was like, for when you get here, I'll have bought you chicken, 5% mince, oats, rice cakes, cereal, jam, squares bars. She was like, Petru's gave me a list of things to buy, and I'm just going to have it all ready for you coming. What the fuck? This is crazy.
Order.
Absolutely wild. So got everything sorted with that. Petru arrives a day later, so he'll be here or he'll be there on Thursday. He's going to be driving, so he's going to sort all of that out. He drives on that side of the road anyway, so just is a little bit more stress free.
Driving to LA.
I thought you meant that at first as well, but I take it you're meaning renting the car when you're there.
Yes,
driving across the fucking
Petru's driving the car in LA. Sorry, he's not driving to LA. That would be impressive. But yeah, he's driving the car in LA because he drives on that side of the road anyway, so it's not going to be anything different for him. And he says he actually wants to. It kind of excites him a little bit. So he'll get there the next day. He's coming along with Radu, AJ's client as well. So it's going to be a good experience. I think we're going to make a lot of good memories with it as well. But yeah, the prep itself has been really good. You know,
been pretty smooth overall. Like
yeah.
I mean, obviously, in my own podcast, little shout out, little plug.
Hey, inside the process.
Inside the podcast.
Where can you find it?
And Spotify,
Spotify, YouTube, inside the process.
But yeah, we pretty much ran through my prep and like going through like we had a little hiccup that I actually forgot about was also when I got food poisoning. Completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about that. But that was the only kind of major sort of kind of bump in the road, shall we say. There also has been a lot of things here now that kind of I feel like I've worked around, shall we say, when it comes to kind of my life. But obviously, no prep is going to be perfect, and that's what you need to realize as well. Especially when it's 32 weeks long. You know how many. That's a lot of time like spent in a year. That obviously stuff is going to happen, and how you manage that. Obviously, communicate with your coach as well. Like communication is everything when it comes to like the prep. Like the coach only knows, Josh only knows how I feel, what's going on, you know, by the things that I tell him. Like there's only stuff that can, a certain amount of stuff that you can know with data on a sheet at the end of the day. So I feel like that's something that we both manage with, is communicating. Like even stuff that I feel like at times I may have communicated a little bit better. Like maybe this past week was a little bit bad. You know, you can
I kind of like egg you on to be like, how are you feeling? Like I want to know more than just your body weight. Like, you know, it matters. Not again, it's not from like a subjective standpoint. How do you think you look? It's like how do you actually feel? You know, like when you're doing these posing rounds, think about how well you're able to contract. Like, does your skin feel a little bit thinner? Like, is your muscle pushing up against the skin a little bit more? Like, I'm not the in person to assess that, so it's you letting me know that as well and having that data too. But yeah, as I say, I think we'll have a good look for the WNBF. Brandon's going into bantamweights, I believe they call it. Yeah, so that is pretty damn light, but you know, we spoke about it again in the previous podcast. There's a lot of really good lightweight guys. Tom going into that lighter class at the MBW, that was an even more competitive class than it was kind of like light to middleweights. So it'll be a good class, like going there, doing our absolute best. Placing wise, like we already both know it'll be good to be placing. With
like the kind of mindset I have is just enjoy the last show, like have some fun. Like obviously, like our goal is to still bring the best to stage, but it's kind of like the same with the PCA Naturals. The first show, like see, because I was in juniors, that I had
bring it back to that
expectation. I feel like I'm just going to enjoy it, which I feel like when you have that kind of, I'm pretty stress free like person in general, but I feel like that will only benefit. Look, just enjoy it. You know, there's no stress. There's like I'm competing against men's when I'm obviously competing teens this year. Like that's a big step up. And even next time I compete, I won't even be
at level as well. So
next time I compete will obviously be 2 or 3 years time, but that will be as a junior as well. Like I'm not even going to be a main. So once again, you're gonna have some fun. And what is more so for the kind of experience, it'll be a good end to the prep as well. It's kind of pretty much like a little holiday to kind of round off the prep as well, like a long prep as well. And I feel like it'll be a good kind of mental transition post show as well.
I thought it was really good. Like when I competed at the Natural Olympia, like I went up into the men's class and I didn't place, but that gave me so much motivation to be like, right, I need to be fucking better. Yeah, I need to be a lot denser. I have a lot more muscle, that maturity there, and it kind of egged me on to be like, you know, go for a longer off season because you need it in a sense. You know, like for first from teens to go into even the junior lineups, mate. Like some of these juniors that we will see throughout this season, and I said this to Brandon, like juniors is usually like the busiest and the highest standard class for most shows nowadays. Like cause bodybuilding is more popular for the younger generation now. Like juniors is bonkers. So it's bringing that level of muscularity up to kind of match that as well. But it's going to be a good experience. Again, making a lot of memories in general. The flight side of things, Finn, do you want to maybe touch upon that? Like, you know, with international competing, obviously, Matt, you've done so as well. I've done so. Noah, you're going to be doing this next year. So not that you need like the advice, you already know most of the stuff, but you know, it's nice to obviously hear about the stuff and the experience. And for anyone that's wanting to possibly do that in the future for their future seasons, or it's coming up to that point in the season, you know, what that's going to look like and any kind of implications and what you're thinking about from there.
So to be fair, with Matt, we didn't really need to do much because it was, how long was the flight to Denmark, Matt? Like 3 hours?
Like 3 hours, yeah, it wasn't too long, was it?
So like if it's realistically, if it's like probably that or less, I don't think you need to really manipulate too much. Like you could maybe not have a meal on the flight, have it when you land, or prep a meal to have on the flight. Like it's not too difficult, or even macro match what your normal meal would be based on dry food that you can take. So that's not really much of a problem. Like you're not going to really hold on to much fluid from a 3 hour flight, let's say. But let's say an 11-hour flight like we've got, you're going to like, you know, even if you're literally having minimal carbs, minimal salt, ideally, like Brandon's going to be doing tomorrow, like getting up maybe every half an hour or so, light walks, light calf stretches, some calf raises, compression socks, all these kind of things. Like it's all to mitigate the amount of fluid that you might hold to try and sort of absolutely reduce it. But like you probably will still hold a little bit. But also like this is why you fly out a few days early, not the day before, so that then you're like, oh fuck, I look shit the next morning, or I look shit when I land because I'm holding fluid. Like we've all been there. Like most people anyway, have probably been on a long haul flight. You've seen what your ankles look like. You felt how your shoes are. Your shoes are tight. Like it's all just down to that edema in your lower body based on being in the air for so long. So yeah, like obviously we've got like a WMBF group chat. I'll just get it up. So I messaged in the group chat and just said, in terms of like ways that we can prevent fluid retention and edema from the flight, aim to get up every hour or so for a short walk, light stretch, calf raises. You're also going to be drinking a lot of water because again, like you want to stay well hydrated. The more dehydrated you are, likelihood is the more fluid you're going to hold. So stay hydrated. So that hour that you get up every time can just be going to the toilet, like, and then it doesn't feel like fucking hell I have to get up all the time. Wear compression socks. Obviously, we put that into the chat, so hopefully everybody's got some. Sometimes, like long haul flights will give you compression socks anyway, but they're not really the highest quality. Like you can get stronger ones. I think it's like I can't remember what the actual. It's like milliliters of mercury or something is how it's measured in. It's like mmHg. It's basically a unit of pressure. I think you get like 15 to 20 mmHg, and you can get like 20 to 25 and 25 to 30. Obviously, it depends on like how big you are and so on and so forth. But generally, just get the stronger ones. They're just going to be a bit tighter. They're going to force more blood back up the body. That's all they do. That's why you see a lot of bodybuilders wear compression socks whilst they train. Because it helps with blood flow. It helps with managing blood pressure. So yeah, like especially when people train legs, like they'll often put like you see like Cuba wearing like long socks and stuff. It helps with that blood flow. So yeah, basically that's what I've been like saying for everyone to do. Stay well hydrated, limit your caffeine intake because again, caffeine is like a natural diuretic. It dehydrates you not massively, like, but I wouldn't be recommending having loads of caffeine because again, that's going to increase the likelihood of holding fluid. Wear baggy clothes, comfortable clothes. If you've got like tight socks on or like tight joggers on that are like compressing your ankle, you're going to hold more fluid. And then reducing salt intake. Again, we know that with more salt comes holding more fluid. So like minimal salt on the flight, minimal carbs on the flight, even minimal salt and carbs prior to the flight. Not necessarily like the day.
It won't be. It doesn't need to be complete trace, but like just not
like just on the day,
having a loading day or something like that.
Yeah, like you're not wanting like I've had like for example Brandon G today. I think it's 550 carb. I think yesterday was like 450 or 400. Tom Scott similar 400 ish. Like last few days, like they're not going to have that tomorrow. Or Tom today because he's flying. Brandon tomorrow. They're going to have close to like 150, 200. But also, you sat for 11 hours. Realistically, you know what I mean? You're not like burning loads of calories. You sat like, yeah, fucking traveling to Ball Lake. You stood in the queue for a while when you get there and when you get off and stuff. But like, other than that, you're not training. You're not posing, really. You're not burning loads of calories. Don't pose after every meal on your flight. You don't need to do that. Don't get check-ins in the toilet. It's not enough. There's not enough space.
It's in the middle of the fucking aisle.
Sorry, I've got to check in with my coach. Yeah, like just don't be that guy. But yeah, like there's things that you can do, and like, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? It's not that hard. Like, get up every hour. You're probably going to do that to go for a wee anyway. Wear compression socks. That's really not hard. And on the day, don't have loads of food or loads of carbs and loads of salt, which you probably wouldn't do anyway because you're not moving that much, so you don't really require it anyway. Like,
I think like when we flew Vegas wise, like by the end of the flight or once I came off and once I went through the airports and so forth, I just felt like out of it. I was like, can I have a little bit of carbs just to make me feel a little bit better?
I screamed at you, didn't I? And I said, no,
you can't have that.
Don't even talk to me.
And then you threw little marshmallow square bar things, wee mini ones at me, just threw them at me. But like you've mentioned it before, even just having more food before you go to bed, just now in general, makes your sleep quality so much better.
So like ring sleep score 97 on a day, 97.
Your sleep's really good, and I don't want to massively interrupt that by having no carbs throughout the day and no carbs before you go to bed, and your body's like completely not used to that. You gotta still have a little bit of carbs before the flight, a little bit of carbs after, but it's just
not a good flight time.
Yeah, I mean it's not perfect, but it's you can work around it in a sense.
Yeah,
it's gonna be later bedtime. For Brandon, you know, again, it'll probably be around like the 3 a.m. UK time, but throughout that flight, you know, you'll have maybe a 3 to 4 hour nap. within there. Again, I'll probably wake you up maybe a little bit between that, and then you just get up and get moving. But straight back to sleep. You're not doing much in a flight anyway. You're bored at your nuts. It's so easy to fall asleep. Like when you do need to, like although that's in the middle of the day and you're not used to doing that, you can very easily do it if you just sit and stare at the seat in front of you and you don't have anything to do.
You can take some sleep subs when you need them.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I like you could have ashwagandha, you could have a like whatever sleep supplement that you usually use. If you're flying throughout the day, like there's nothing wrong with using that. Like it's even if you don't, as I say this to people, like even within a prep, like even if you don't sleep, but you just chill, that difference is massive. You know what I mean? Like if you like go and like lie on the sofa for an hour now and you don't quite fall asleep, but you have that same feeling of just being relaxed and your breathing slows down, your heart rate drops. Like, yeah, you've not fallen asleep, but you still get that sort of almost like restorative kind of phase, if you like. It's not like I haven't actually been asleep, but I felt like I pretty much was or almost did. And like if you can do that on a flight, like that's enough, you know what I mean? That's still decent.
Yeah, it's just managing that once we get there. We even spoke about even like melatonin possibly. Like once we're there, once we're settled in. I think I had done that in Vegas. Reese just had some. I was talking about after the show, and I was trying to see how much melatonin I could have without like completely passing out. And I was sat looking at my phone trying to put like a appreciation story up for like thank you for everyone for all the messages. I had like 6 tabs of the melatonin thing, or like 6 wee gummies. And I was sat there like I felt drunk as fuck trying to type it out. It's like it does work melatonin if you need to do something like that to force to get to sleep a little bit more at certain times, and that's cool. We can manipulate that, just not ripping the piss because you end up feeling shit and very groggy, and it's not something that you're used to having. So I'm trying to abuse it.
Melatonin is great for jet lag, but I think you'll be all right on the way there. It's on the way back.
Yeah.
Same with Vegas. Like on the way there, we got there, stay up a little bit later, and then you go to sleep. And it's like, oh, I just had like an 11-hour sleep instead of like an 8. Like, yeah, I'm a bit tired, but you sound really. And if you have a bit of a nap on the flight, if you add that 11 plus like a 2-hour nap, it's not that bad. That you know what I mean? It's when you travel back and when time goes forwards, and especially if that then skews with your sleep, that's I felt fucked after Vegas.
I was talking about how I think I might struggle to drive back.
Yeah.
Like, because we're going to have an 11-hour flight, and then the car's at Heathrow. So it'll then be dropping you off, 2 hours up.
Stay at mine.
I think possibly. We'll see what happens.
That makes sense.
We were looking at a Rangers game, weren't we? No one, Matt. But that's on the Thursday. I don't think I'd want to thug out. I don't think I'd want to thug out like a 9-10 hour drive like directly off the back of a flight.
What do you mean you're missing Rangers Braga?
Come to Ibrox. Come to Ibrox.
I'll just ask the pilot if he can just chuck me out at Ibrox. Give me a parachute and just jump back in there. But
we actually saw a Fortnite battle bus today.
yeah, we did. Down the motorway there was a Fortnite battle bus, so we'll see if I can get the plane just to do that. Change me into that. But it'll be obviously interesting because you've not had a longer flight before. But again, we know how to manage it, how to kind of work around that. The time zone differences. Absolute G, Big Marie, I think her name is, for getting all the food sorted. So it means that we don't need to worry about that. We don't need to worry about going to the shops as soon as we get there. Like we've got the bare minimums, the basics ready to go for the next day. So we don't need to worry too much about that. But yeah, from there on, again, similar to me with Vegas, like the first half of the week is a little bit more boring. Like Finn, I remember you and Reese and Sam were out fucking gambling and munching burgers at all these burger joints.
Only when you were asleep. Throughout the day, what we're doing, training with you, spending time with you. Then when you went to bed, the big boys went out.
Yeah, I remember I tried to gamble, and the guy was like, "What age are you?" And
That's the story where the story when I was like, make them all Malibu, and I like nearly lost my head about like wanting to steal Sam's drink because I'd already had 2, and me and Reese like committed to only having 2 each, and then. We thought Sam wasn't coming out because Sam was in the room with you, and we were like, right, mate, we're going. Are you coming or what? And Sam was like, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be down in like an hour. And like an hour and a half had gone, and we were like, Sam's not coming. Like, let's have a bit of a gamble, then we'll go to bed. Me and Reese were like kind of ready for the night to end, and then we saw Sam, and he was like dressed up, and he looked great, and we were like buzzing. And I was like, oh, Sam, let me get you a drink. But like me and Reese had already had like 2 drinks. We're like, right, that's all we're having. Yeah, we need to be up early tomorrow. We need to train. Only having 2 drinks. So I went and ordered 3 drinks. I was like, can I have 1 Malibu and Coke, and 2 Diet Cokes? And then he poured the Malibu, and like in my head, I just wanted to shout like, "Make them all Malibu." I was like, I feel like I want another one, and then I didn't. And then the next thought in my head was, I'm gonna steal Sam's and just give him just give him the normal Diet Coke. And then I admitted it to them and realized that I sound like I was an alcoholic. So
Just alcoholic,
that
yeah.
was when I realized, yeah, I needed to pull back on the Malibu and Cokes.
Life's
But
so
yeah,
much better when you're drunk, though.
well, it was in Vegas. It was a good laugh. Like, but we were, to be fair, I had like me and Reese had two drinks.
Like 10 minutes.
We're sober.
Brilliant, Matt. I was saying that's the first thing he said in like 10 minutes. Just dropped a one-liner and posted it again. Yeah.
I was actually going to say, Matt, have you got any insights to, because obviously you competed, I know again it wasn't as far, but when you competed abroad, like, is there anything you'd think like, oh, that was important to remember? Or
In terms of for competitors, pack as many of your show day essentials in your hand luggage as you can, just in case shit happens and you end up losing your hold bag. Because I imagine, well, that's actually a good point. Definitely have a bag in hold. Don't try and cram everything in for an international show into just hand luggage because you'll stress yourself out and you'll probably end up forgetting something. So just
not
pay
that much money, is it? Yeah, like
just pay the
for
money.
the stress that you drop off from that is worth
Yeah,
it.
just knowing that you've got like a 10 kilo bag or a 20 kilo bag, you can bring all the same supplements. You can bring your whey, your cream of rice, everything. You can just put that in the luggage. You can bring a change of clothes as well. So if you get tan on your clothes, you're not fucking stuck wearing stinky joggers for the rest of the trip. So definitely get a bag for the hold. Have your hand luggage. Put quite a few meals in your hand luggage as well, just in case there's a delay. And it could be a 6 hour delay. And if you've only brought one meal for the flight, then you're fucked because your bag for the hold's already gone. So you're therefore left with airport food, and that's not really beneficial. So bring a couple of meals for your hand luggage. Bring like trunks and stuff. Put them in your hand luggage just in case you don't want to lose them. So not sure if there's anything else. There's probably more that might come back to me.
Yeah, that's solid though. Like I definitely agree with that. Bringing because there was a few people, the Natural Olympia when I competed there, like they were getting kind of flights where it wasn't direct. There was a changeover, and then they couldn't get their bags, and then they had to wait like 2 days for that. Then they were fucked. They're like, "What do we do?" They were in the group chat, like asking people, "Can you do this? Can you do this for me? Can you do this?" Like they end up being, in the bin with it. And
Jerome forgot his trunks. Do you remember that?
yeah, we had to get Johnny Clough. Johnny Clough gave him some, bless him.
That's where the iconic video came from, where Johnny was like filming Jerome posing, and he was like, "Oh, your front double. Oh, yeah.
I love your front double.
Really like your front double."
I love Johnny.
Yeah. But no, to be fair, Johnny was so helpful. Like we were asking round. I remember I put a message in the group chat. I messaged people's on individually on Instagram. And don't get me wrong, a couple of people did say that, "Oh, sorry, mate, I've only got the one." Johnny was like, "Yeah, say I've got 3. He can choose which ones he likes." And he gave him them. He didn't just loan him them. He was like, "Mate, you can have them. You look great." It was like so nice. Like, yeah, Johnny's a good lad.
But yeah, main things with the flight, I think, covered, to be honest. Do you want to cover like the rest of the prep in general? Do we want to talk about that? What would you think?
We spoke earlier, didn't we, about like how you boys planned for like the peak to be like the main shows, and like now like one of the main shows was what, the WMBF, which was the start of September, right?
Yeah.
It's now coming to the end of November. So like, how's that been in terms of managing that? Because like obviously I've same with Tom and same with Brandon. Like our goal wasn't initially WMBF Worlds, so like it's hard then once you get to that point. Like obviously both Brandon and Tom have been in prep for a long time now. Brandon as well, Brandon Doherty, Brandon G. They've both been in prep for a long time. Like how's it been, mate? And how have you managed it together? Like in the last probably 10 weeks or so between like those kind of main shows.
You know my reasoning behind a lot of the stuff as well. So
Yeah,
you can go for it.
So pretty much like fat loss was done from the MBW show. So that was the final main show, which was 6 weeks ago now.
Yep.
So we did push down pretty hard between the UKDFBA and the MBW, where we saw like new prep lows. Legs faded a little bit,
there was positives and there was negatives.
Yeah, maybe like pushed a little bit too hard, but like a lot of new condition was brought to the NBW at the same time. So it was almost like a little bit of a trade-off. But after that, so 6 weeks ago was the last show, like pretty much from there, reduced steps a lot, like pretty much half, like they were at 12k, pretty much on training days, upper days was 8k, leg days / high days, which we're also going into, was 6k. So a lot less expenditure. Cardio was pulled out as well. Just kind of the main priority was keeping the legs fresh, especially.
And we outlined that straight out the gates as well, wasn't it?
It was, which I think if we kept cardio in steps, like my legs would have literally just faded. So, and then just regular high days since then. So the last 6 weeks is pretty much just been bringing baseline food up as well, alongside at least like 2 or 3 high days per week, and once again running them on lower body / leg days.
That works well as well, because Brandon's leg day is on a Monday and then his lower body day is on a Friday. So like it faces well throughout the week. Like that leg session, the high day there would carry over into the push and pull session that went after that. There was maybe 1 or 2 times as well where it would get around to the Thursday and like you're light. You don't need to be this light. I can see you flattening off. We're going to run the high days, the Thursday and the Friday. So technically like a little refeed in a sense. And not being afraid to do that, because again, if I'd have been like, oh no, well, what's going to happen if we do that? I know, like your legs again would have been a lot flatter. You would be a lot flatter in general, is not being afraid to kind of fill back up again, because with your body, like you get lean relatively easy. Your body kind of wants to just see you lose. Like if we don't force it to not do that, it's gonna happen. And again, we didn't need to be leaner. Like in the NBW, as you say, like legs definitely a little bit downsized. And I'm still happy that we done what we done, because it is not leaving could we have pushed for more condition? Like that's the thing, we'd had the WNBF, the UKDFBA, so far best season, best looks of your season. But then it was like, right, could we have that a little bit more? And it wasn't again digging you into the ground and we're running these super harsh low days and anything like that. It was literally just your baseline days, and maybe 1 or 2 high days throughout it. Maybe not as frequent as it should or could have been, but again, we've learned from that. But being able to actually push for that and be like, all right, you just need more muscle through your glutes and more maturity through there. We're not going to be able to get them peeled right now. It's not worth trying to fucking chase that, because the rest of your physique will end up just fading. Finding that middle ground, having these high days on the leg days, sometimes on that Thursday rest day as well. So as you say, 2 to 3 high days per week. Prioritising the high days on the leg days was massive as well, to bring up the fullness, performance. Your leg performance has been up over the past few weeks. Like you've got stronger, and that's not like I'm going to put my feet higher on this leg press and not control it as much to try to get more reps. Like it's good quality work, and it speaks volumes with your legs right now. No, they're not, the peak fullness that they were being at. Imagine what they would be like if we hadn't done that. We've kept them alive. They're still stupid peeled as well. Finn, you've seen it today in person, like just actually contracting the quads, like detail through everything, the rec fem, every part of your quad, like the detail's still there. Your body weight is pretty much the heaviest it's been throughout the prep itself, because we started to fill back up again. Again, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty happy with the physique that I know. Obviously, we've not stepped on stage yet. You're not there, but like from what we've got already, like within this peak week and where you are right now, I'm more than happy with the physique that we're going to be in this late towards the back end of prep. We were thinking about like an international show. I think it was maybe halfway through prep. I don't know if it was before you'd done your first show, but you were like, I'd quite like to do an international show. Yeah. And we were initially thinking like INBA, PNBA. And we had a look at the shows and nothing really lined up. And I was thinking, we nearly fully planned Bratislava.
Slovakia, wasn't
it? Yeah. Because it was like, all right, Petra's going to compete there and Brandon's going to compete there. None of them ended up competing there. But it's because obviously Petra won his pro cards at WNBF. And then got a little bit of intel that the INBA don't really like UK athletes anymore, because they split ways with the UKDFBA and they don't have much kind of favour towards them. And it was just a bit out of the way and shit. It didn't time up very well with the rest of the shows. And it was like, I'd much rather we go to LA, have a great time there. We'll again still bring a very good look, but we're able to enjoy the post show much more. Bratislava, we're in some random wee town, like what do you mean guff? Like going out to LA, being able to go to Santa Monica Beach and do everything there is going to be much better. And we're going to wait up and see what we think, see where we are at the time. But I think we've handled that well, and been able to keep the physique alive, but not only that, but still continue to move it forwards with your performance. And again, today, seeing yourself in that light and being able to be like, fuck yeah, I look really good. It's just bringing that fullness. And we spoke about the flight, having less carbs. We're filling up relatively hard right now compared to previous weeks. That's the highest we've ever run.
But like going into like higher body weight.
Yes, exactly. So previous peaks, it'd been like there's maybe 2 weeks between each show. The first week has just been like not digging hard, but again like baseline foods, maybe a high day once in there, and then it's going into the peak week. So it wasn't like you were super fresh going into it, but since the last show, it's been 6 weeks of feeding up relatively consistently. You'd still picked up a good bit of fatigue towards the back end, and that was mainly because, again, I think we spoke about this on here before. Like, you don't really need to deload when you've got a busy show season because you're pretty much deloading like every second week or every third week. Brandon's body was used to, having that reduced week of training every 3 weeks or so, somewhere around there. But because we had a 6 week runway, we were like, right, let's just crack on. And then towards that sort of fourth week, I think it was like, right, we really noticed a lot more fatigue here, like 4.5 weeks in. Even though we were filling up a lot and your performance was good and your body was feeling good, again, like I remember one check and I could kind of see it, and just with how you'd sense it or something, I was like, how are you feeling?
Yeah,
I noticed straight away, and I was like, how are you feeling? And then you kind of confirmed it with me. I was like, right, yeah, cool. We'll run reduced kind of volume intensity through your training. It wasn't massively a case of like increasing food, but it was more so bringing that expenditure down, making sure that you weren't fucking yourself up. You ended up even having like a leg pump session somewhere in there because you just felt so draggy. And again, it's definitely brought you back to life and now in a really good spot going into the peak so that you can bring a good physique there. But it's meant, obviously, as I was saying, that we've not had to run as much foods because you're already like fresher going into it. Instead of like a multiple week running more food before then, it's technically been not peak week, but you've been filling up for the last 6 weeks in a sense.
Yeah.
So food today is 475 carbs. Post workout looking really good, getting fuller, but I think there's still room to push considering tomorrow is going to be a very, very low day for carbohydrates compared to what they usually be. So running a little bit extra foods like after post workout, we discussed an extra 25 grams of carbs in each of your meals, just to add a little bit more food in. You got a good amount of salt and water anyway, and just going from there. Tomorrow you should wake up pretty heavy, but that's exactly where we want to be. And again, in the previous episode that we were chatting about, Finn, you had mentioned with Tom saying like, oh, I'm not on new low today, my body weight's higher, what do I do? Like within the peak week, find well that you're going to be heavier. I know that you're going to be heavier, and we discussed that openly, and it means that we're never kind of worried about what's happening here. And even if something goes wrong, but something unexpected happens, we can take that on board and just work through it from there in a sense. So I think, again, it's been handled well between the shows, but a lot of that does come down to how you communicate. And also just knowing you as a person, your physique and everything, being able to pick up on the little signs as to when you are fatigued and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think it's been handled pretty well.
Yeah, I think something that you did well as well is like with me is just not chasing something that isn't there. Like when it comes to that condition, like kind of pulling the plug with fat loss like at pretty much the perfect time. Like when you start to see those kind of negative signs with my legs fading a little bit, like that's the time. Like like it's not worth chasing those little bits of condition that isn't going to be there, because at the end of the day, like it's not just about conditioning, it's about the overall package that you bring to stage. And that's something I've learned this prep as well, is like it's not just how much lines you have in your glutes, it's about the complete package that you bring to stage. That's what you're being judged on at the end of the day, and that's something that especially if you're first time, like, you need to take into consideration.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, good insight. So what's the plan post LA?
Just binge, like so much. The fun macro. That's the plan. Just the fun macro. But no, we'll obviously enjoy ourselves like post show LA, similar to how I'd done it in Vegas. We go out for a meal in the evenings. I think we went for breakfast at one point, but like just enjoy the meals that we want to enjoy. Celebrating all of this together, because Petro will be there obviously as well with his girlfriends, and Radu, I don't know how much he's going to be hanging about with us, but I think we'll be doing quite a lot of stuff together as well. He'll be with Petra. Like, it'll be a really good time to just enjoy some post-show meals, go to some nice restaurants. It's not about just munching as much food as possible. It's actually enjoying like the social side of things as well. So we'll do that, but you don't need to eat much throughout the day. Like you don't need to have a big pre-workout meal when you've just munched a 2,000 calorie meal the night before, you know. So handling that well, ideally looking to come back with body weight not massively elevated. The first day that you get back, you'll be heavier, as will I, as will Finn, you know, with water retention from the flight. You know, you're not as, oh, I need to have 0 carbs in this flight. You know, it doesn't need to be like perfect like that. You might have some more carbs during the flight, but we're still handling that well. Come back and we spoke about, you know, are we going to be, you know, pushing body weight straight away, so on and so forth. The rule of thumb that I kind of go with is 5% of body weight in that first month is nice. That's a rough idea of what I'm going to shooting for. So with Brandon being 65 kg, that's somewhat around the 3 kg mark within that first 4 to 6 weeks. And bringing that body weight up just to get body fat back to a more normal level, to get hormones back to functioning properly. We're thinking about changing up the split as well. You know, changing that to one. Not that the one right now is not kind of for your physique and personalised to you, because it is heavily personalised to you. But you know, a little bit of a change up, something a bit more exciting, just because it is different. You're looking possibly upper lower arms rest, upper lower rest, or doing upper lower but putting arms at the start of every session. We know that your delts and arms need to come up a little bit as well. So yeah, your delts as well. So bring up the volume, but we're not going to just and change that instantly straight out of the gates, because your body's not going to be ready for it. Coming back from LA, being jet lagged, and overall going to be pretty cooked from a 32-week prep in general, and you know it's going to be a busy kind of not a traveling period, but again we're just there kind of in a different routine. Once you get back, deloads, let your mind and your body rest, kind of come to terms with everything, and think about the whole prep, the whole process. And you know, kind of reflect a little bit, and then it's the case of starting to come back again. We'll start to, you know, push that intensity properly with the training again. Not that you've not been doing that, but bringing that up again, you know, and starting to push that body weight up slowly at a consistent rate of gain that we've got set out. 1 kg a month or somewhere along those lines. But yeah, after that, you know, prep wise, we've not fully like confirmed what year we want to be doing, but it is going to be later end of your juniors.
20.
Yeah,
20,
later
two-year-long
your juniors, so that you've got a good amount of time to grow, and obviously it's not too long to the point where like this feels so far in the future, like you'd have less urgency. Not that you would, because you're very on top of all of that, and your mindset and the process is the most important thing to you, but you know, it's a good amount of time to be pushing things, to build a lot of muscle in the areas that we need to, and then come back and do the whole thing again.
Yeah, because like what you've been in the season for coming up to 3 years now.
Yeah, somewhere around that.
I mean, and I was obviously following your prep and like how fast that's going. Like I know that's going to be the exact same for me, so I need to kind of, you know, remind myself of that. And obviously, especially with, you know, obviously the post prep chat is like the most important thing. Is like, you know, as soon as I get back, just keeping that routine in place. I think it's going to be obviously very beneficial, even though I might be jet lagged, whatever. But
that's
just
keeping
that structure. And like,
I didn't even mention that because I know that you will be doing that.
That's why
I never mentioned that there, but for people out there, it's so important to keep that routine and the structure, because you'd made a post on it that you're going to talk about that, where it's kind of just turning the dial within prep and the gaming phase. Like, what was it you were saying? And it's just like the intensity of that.
It's like not an on and off switch. Like, you know, when you're in prep, it's not like on and on, and then as soon as prep is done, you're off. It's like, you know, it's like a dimmer switch is what I was saying. Like, is like you turn that dial down, you turn it up when the intensity, etc. But most importantly, is keeping that, you know, little things. Like, if you let little things slip, like your meal timings, you know, you may have a little bit more flexibility, but you know, you start going to bed later than that, has a domino effect into you missing meals, little
your recovery,
like and then before you know it, you have no routine. You know, your food's all over, and then you know that transition into your off-season gaining phase is just a lot harder, and you gained a lot more body fat because of that as well.
Yeah.
Cool. All good.
Yeah.
Insight.
Thank you.
I will see you at home.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how long we've been recording for. Is it
5:08.
Jeez, I thought we were like 20 minutes in. Sorry.
So you just spoke for 20 minutes then, mate.
Yeah, sorry, I apologise.
No, it's okay. I like it. It is good though, like, because obviously, as much as obviously, like, I speak to you, like, I don't really speak to you that much in the sense of your clients. Like, obviously, if you have any questions, you'll ask me and stuff, but like, it's not as if you don't need me. Like, you're not asking me questions all the time. So it's cool to hear like your insight on things. But yeah, that was good. People will probably, by the time that this comes out, the show will have occurred. because
Yes, this will be posted on the Tuesday just after. Yeah.
So hopefully by the time this is out, Brandon's done well, got a good result, looked good. Hopefully all the boys have, and hopefully have had a good time. I'll be travelling back by the time this is coming out, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll keep on the podcast. I'm away for a few more weeks, but we'll sort it out, like time zone wise and stuff. We'll be able to sort it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Any final comments from anyone?
Just thank you for having me on.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. A little live Natural Physique podcast, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a regular viewer, so I'm just sitting back enjoying it. So yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
That's been
No
a pleasure.
problem.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming on. Thank you. All right, cool. Thank you for everybody watching as always. Please like and subscribe. Please tag us in your stories, like I said in the last week's. Keep tagging us. We appreciate it. And we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.